I'm your host, Praddy, once again, and this is episode number 8 of the Dressing Room series, season 1. Now, to those of you who are joining us here for the first time and don't know what the Dressing Room series is, it's something that I began this year where I interview past guests of the football podcast and to get to know a little bit about them from a more personal side or from a more personal standpoint. The reason I did that is, well, I felt that apart from football, we probably have a whole load of other interests that common interests or interests that we share that we really don't know about. So uh, it may not be sport related. It could be the same sort of movies that we watch, same sort of music that we listen to, or anything. So I just felt that there is a possibility that the relationship could go more than just podcast and guests. Could just be I just wanted to get to know my guests a lot more, and the reason I'm also posting this online is so that you, the audience, get to know a lot more about the guests that we have on here from a personal standpoint. You probably have more in common with them than you thought. So it's not like you both. So, for example, you've seen a podcast because it relates to your particular club, and someone on that podcast says something, or the person themselves resonates a lot with you. The person themselves resonates a lot with you, or you kind of like what they said, their opinions, all of that. But probably it doesn't end there, right? It doesn't end with just the football club or the player that you support. It goes way beyond that. Probably have probably have been in the same city, you live in the same city, you've been to the same countries, all of that. So the whole point of this series is to get to know a lot more about our guests apart from football. So this entire series has got to do uh, everything but football, right? So we're not going to be talking about football at all, unless it's got to do with their work. In which case, then we will slightly maybe get into that, but nothing to do with club football, world football, all of that. For today's particular episode, we've got a very special guest. She is actually the first female guest that we've had on this podcast. Now, I may risk the wrath by saying that. I'm not really sure though. I'm gonna take a plunge and say that she was. Now, if someone else has been on the podcast before, and please do let me know. I have very short memory in terms of because this is all the way from season 1. So, but I'm glad we could have her on here. She's been on the podcast multiple times, and she's probably had more mispronunciations of her name than I have. Okay, that's probably one thing we probably share, is that the number of people that we've had mispronounce our names is quite high. I don't think I've had someone else on the podcast who even I was very, very hesitant at the start to try and pronounce her name. But we have her nonetheless. So welcome back, Philarima. I'm glad we could have you on the podcast. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself before we get to delving a lot more into your personal story? Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself without giving any spoilers away?
Hi, Pri. It's good to be back. Actually, I feel like I haven't been on a show in like a very long time, so I'm like really excited to be back. And this, I think, is like a really special episode because like getting to know each other, and so I think I'm like really excited for this one. And as for my name, yeah, everybody mispronounced my name, so it's like a thing. My surname, which is Hynniewta, so a lot of people can't. We've got a Y, we've got a double N, we've got, you know, a lot of vowels there. So a lot of people have a problem pronouncing my entire name, except for my first, a bit easier to pronounce as compared to my second name. So yeah,
Right.
uh,
Definitely.
so little about myself. Oh, church bells are ringing. I don't know if you can hear it. I
Yeah,
live
I
right
can.
next
Yeah.
to a church. Yeah, and it's Christmas season here, so Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Yeah, a little about myself. I'm that a bit crazy person when it comes to Christmas. I make up for all those other people who hate Christmas. So I get like
Oh, all
really
right.
excited for it, and I've Like today, I just like revamped my room to be like Christmas theme.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
I'm that.
You are the opposite of a Mr. Scrooge. Like the complete
Yeah,
opposite.
I make up for. Yeah, I make up all the other people who hate Christmas. Like my enthusiasm for it, yeah, makes up for all of it. So yeah, Christmas is like a big
Wow.
thing for me. Apart from
Nice.
football, I love
Yeah.
reading. I've
Okay.
actually got into. I think I've put around 69 books this year. My target was
Wow.
50, and I've
Oh wow. Okay.
overshot my target.
You had a target.
Yeah,
That's
so I'm
that's
like,
interesting. Oh yeah, we'll definitely delve into all of that.
go.
We
I'm
would love
a
to
nerd.
spend a lot more time on that. We'd love to talk more about all of that. But let's start with the name thing, okay? Because I think that's the one thing that we probably have both in common. Your first name's easier to pronounce and write, or at least spell out, whereas my surname's easier
Yeah,
to do that. Now, when people do mispronounce your name, what is it? What's your reaction to it? Do you correct them? Do you go along with it? Has it been so many times mispronounced that you're just immune to the next person who comes around and calls you something else?
yeah. I'm like, actually, at first, it obviously used to bother me, and then
Mhm.
and then after that, I'm like, okay, let go of it. And now I'm like the annoying person who'd be like, no, you have to get it right because I have
Okay.
one name. I'm going to teach you how to pronounce my name so that you know how to use my name. So I'm like, that's super annoying. But the thing is that, like, see, my first name, the most annoying part about like my entire name situation is the fact that the people misspell my name a lot.
Yeah.
As in, like, they spell it as Fila. And that triggers me more than anything else.
You know
You
what
know,
triggers me?
some of,
The worst part is, especially like on WhatsApp groups or stuff like that, right? You can see the
yeah,
person's name, like either
yep,
on an email or on Facebook. You can see the person's name, yet when they type in a
yeah,
message, they misspell it, and I'm like, it's there. It's not like
it's right there.
I'm yeah, I'm not hiding it from you. It's like my name's right there. I've told people
Yeah.
as well, like, if you don't know my spelling, call me Praddy. I like, fine. If you can't spell it, just call me Praddy. I'm okay. Like, just don't. I hate it when they see the name there and they still write it wrong. That's the worst. That's my pet peeve. Like when people see it and I'm like, no, yeah,
Yeah, zero effort.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
it's
go ahead.
so you know sometimes I would go when I have to introduce. You can call me Fila with a Phila, not an Fila.
Yeah.
That is like what I usually do to
Okay.
like make
Yeah.
sure that just
I
to
think for
like put
me.
it out there before they like before they annoy. Yeah, listen, this is the situation with my name. So get it.
Yeah. For me, I suppose it's got to be with the person. So with some people, I'm like, okay, fine, you want to mispronounce my name or whatever. I really don't care. But for some people, I'll be like, no, it's Pradyum. It's I know the N is there, but it's silent. So like, fair enough. I've been called worse. So I sometimes I'm just immune to it. Uh,
Yeah, I completely get it.
exactly. All right. So let's. I suppose the way I start off these episodes is by asking my guests how we first got in touch with each other. Now, the previous guests on the podcast, some of them have known me since school. Some of them have only known me from the podcast. So, since we knew each other only because of the podcast, when I reached out to you way back in season one, I wanted to know, when you got the message from FFS podcast saying, hey, would you like to be a part of the podcast, all of that, what were you going through? Why did you decide to be a part of the podcast in the first place?
Yeah, so I think the reason why I decided to be part of the podcast is because I got a good recommendation from Vijay. He was the one,
Okay.
reached out first, and he was like, "Yeah, this is my friend. He does this. I've been in this podcast, and I think you would also be a good guest." So you got really good recommendation from Vijay. Like, okay, cool. If he has done his background on you, I'm cool with it.
Fair enough. I'll have to put in a word and thank him again. But yeah, I think I had him on as, I suppose, the second, no, second or third episode on here. But yeah, he was very, very instrumental in the podcast itself at the start, getting names, because for me, I was
Yeah.
never on Twitter before that. So he was like, get on Twitter, get to talking and getting people on involved into the podcast. And yeah, I'm glad that he did recommend you for, or he gave me a good recommendation to you, and we could have that. I suppose, what was the first, what was the episode that we had you on first time? Was it the US women's thing?
Yeah, we were talking about equal pay,
Yeah. Okay.
the gender gap, and all of that. That was a very interesting podcast, actually.
Thank
It
you.
was, I was because a lot of people weren't talking about it, and when people were talking about it, also it's all like misinformation. So
Mhm.
I was glad to be part of the podcast and just like put out all the facts that's out there.
Yeah, because if I had only gone by articles at that point of time, and again, this is not talking about football, we're talking about the podcast back then, so lay off me. Uh, but yeah, when we would, if I'd gone by articles, I would have definitely had a different perception. So I was glad that we could have you on, and the reason is because I wanted to have a female touch or female spokesperson for it. I didn't want to have a male person who's probably even if someone who's followed women's football for 20 years or donkey's years, even if he was a man, I didn't want to have a man on there explaining. So I wanted someone, a, a woman who follows the sport well enough to come on there. And I'm glad, Vijay was the one who recommended, who suggested you'd be a perfect fit. And yeah, I mean, since then we've had you multiple times. I'm glad that happened. I'm glad that worked out.
Yeah, same. Cheers to Vijay.
Exactly. We'll put a shout out in the podcast when it releases. Um, all right. So apart from football, and I know you'll watch a lot of it, men's, women's, all of it. You follow a hell lot, because we've had people who only follow women's sports. We only have people who follow only men's sports. No, I'm not judging them, but we have people who don't follow. But you follow a lot of football. You follow all of it. And apart from football, what are your interests like? Like, we've heard about the reading books and all that. Any sports, any other sports that you're up into, or what are your hobbies like?
I mean, I love sports in general. Okay,
Hmm.
so I do watch like anything that's on the TV, or if any interesting tournament that's happening, I do enjoy. I mean, like, I've grown up watching sport. Okay, like I was introduced to sports by my great grandmother. She's a massive sports fan, and the funny thing about it, she would be like, "No, you shouldn't watch TV unless you're watching sports." So that
Okay,
is why I grew
that's
up
nice.
watching hockey. I grew up watching cricket, uh, tennis, the sport. So we just so that's why I have like I don't, apart from football, I don't really have a particular sport that I actually watch, but I do enjoy a lot of gymnastics and tennis. Yeah,
Okay,
I've been trying to
all
get
right.
into F1,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It just yet.
Yeah, but so I mean, I used to watch F1, then stopped for a while, then got back. But even a friend of mine who wanted to get into the sport, I think you've got to watch it with the right people, or have someone watch it with you. So like the
Yeah,
initial races, like we would be on WhatsApp with each other. So he'd watch it, ask questions, I'd respond, we'd watch it. So you kind of have somebody to watch it with, which gets you hyped up even more. I think
Yeah.
if you're a first time watcher and you watch it alone, you're like a little out of sorts with what's happening. So watching it with the right person would probably help you in that sport. I know that sport. The rest I think is fairly okay. Cricket anyway, you've got tons of people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
tennis
Cricket
is
is like by default. Okay.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
a default
That's for all
sport
of
for
us.
us.
All of us Indian kids are like we started with cricket. There's no other sport that
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised if someone said I started with like football, because the default is like your parents started watching cricket, uh,
Yeah. And you
and
just,
even if they liked football, they would watch cricket a lot. So that's
yeah.
that's the way
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. And in terms of your hobbies, like you spoke about reading books, have you always been into reading books, or is it something that happened recently? Like,
I actually picked up this, I would call it an unhealthy habit for me,
mm-hmm.
reading books.
Okay,
I started when I was like 15, 14, 15, around that age in
okay.
school. And the thing about me is like when I picked up a book, I can't stop.
Mhm.
That is why I know it's like reading like 60 plus, almost 70 books in a year is like a huge number for most people. But the reason that I've been able to like read a lot of books is because I can't stop when I start. So, I'll be
Okay.
like, if I'm, before I sleep, I'm like, I'll read a little bit, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And then the next thing I know, it's like 5:30 in the morning.
Oh
So I'm
wow.
like, okay,
Okay. Oh, you're
yeah,
that kind
it's
of
an
an avid reader.
unhealthy.
When they say avid reader, yeah, it's an unhealthy.
That is why I call it an unhealthy habit. So like there'll
Mhm.
be times that I'd be like, I would, consciously stop myself from like reading or just picking up a book
Yeah.
because yeah, it's become sometimes. But I do love it and I don't think I can stop it.
But I think of all the unhealthy obsessions that you could have, books are probably healthier of the unhealthiest.
Eh, Definitely. But then yeah,
Yeah.
but then I don't sleep. And so you can
Yeah.
see the things that I don't sleep because I watch football. And then on top
Yeah.
of that, I read books. And like, yeah, so
Yeah. Maybe
yeah,
the
that's why
sleep
I'm like,
schedule
I
is
barely sleep.
probably, yeah, the sleep schedule maybe, but of all the things that you want an obsession with, I think books is something that you'd be
Yeah,
okay with. Like, I can't think of, say someone has an unhealthy obsession of binge watching reality TV dramas, or watching
yeah.
or eating chocolates or fast foods. Like, that's an unhealthy stuff. But books is something that, yeah, I mean, you're unhealthy because what is wrong with you? Like, why would you stay up that late reading books, right?
Yeah.
But okay, what kind of genres though? Is there any particular genre that you love reading?
For me, it's like, it actually depends on my mood.
Ah,
Uh,
okay,
it depends on that. Like sometimes I'm like reading, I love thrillers. And
yeah.
then sometimes I'm like reading like those motivational books about being unstoppable
Okay.
and being about a badass queen and all that stuff. And then sometimes I'm like reading these adult fictions and I'm like, shucks, man, no. Why are they like why are these people so unrealistic?
Okay, right.
So it like completely depends. Like the last book I read was Atomic Habits by James Clear. That
Okay,
was like a really interesting book and I would like definitely recommend it. Like it was recommended to me by a friend on Twitter.
okay. Wow. So have you, because you're so crazy about books, have you like ever thought about starting these book clubs, or being a part of a book club, or doing something crazy on social media about books?
No, I've got like I don't think I can like do that. Like I've got like so much on
Mhm.
my plate,
Yeah, yeah, fair
and
enough.
then on top
I,
of that, as it is, I'm like obsessed with football too. So like, dude, I can't. I've got just 24 hours in a day, so I don't think
Yeah,
I
no,
can
but
like
it also, yeah, it takes a lot out of you to be quite, like, I know people who even myself included at times, right? Like we start something because it's quite interesting, but it's about continuing it or keeping it going. Like it'll be a fad. I suppose it's a fad, right? Like
Yeah.
for 5 months, it'll be great because I'll be quite constantly involved, and then after that, it'll be like I don't know, and it'll just be a lull for another 5 months, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should maybe
Yeah.
get back to that, and then again, it takes a lot out of you. I completely get what
Yeah.
you're saying. I think the podcast that way has, fortunately, knock on wood, been the more constant that I've been able to do, like consistent
Yeah.
and constant in a way. Uh, okay, but top 5 books that you would recommend to any person looking to read. And since you, okay, I don't know if I won't say genre. I'll leave it open unless you want to keep a particular genre.
Okay, definite number one, Who Brings Forth Wind.
Okay.
Okay, it's already one of the like really super old books. Okay, then number two, I would say any books by Mary Higgins Clark. I love that author. She's like a brilliant writer. She writes crime thriller, so it's like really good.
I've
Atomic
heard of the
Habits.
name. Okay.
Atomic Habits, like I said, I just read it, and I think we all need to read it. I'm picking
Okay.
up like small things from it. And I would definitely recommend my friend Siddhartha Mukherjee. She wrote this book, Hello
Okay.
Ties, brilliantly written. Okay, I think I might be biased because I know her, but then definitely you should read it.
Okay.
And and a, and a classic, Uncle Tom's Cabin. I think
Oh, okay. All right.
I think it's something that yeah. So I think those are
Interesting.
like my five. It's like it's something. Those are like my top five at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe some other time I might recommend you something else.
Fair enough. So not only are you an obsessive reader, but you're a moody obsessive reader, which is
Yep,
fair enough. Fair enough. That's the kind of
definitely.
obsessive reader you need to have as well. Um, okay. Yeah, but I guess that's the case with most readers that I've spoken to. That like it's
Yeah,
not like they stick to one particular genre. I tend to read predominantly thrillers or murder mysteries, fun kind of books,
yeah.
or like the epic ones that are made into movies that I probably want to read to see
I,
how different they
I,
are.
yeah. I usually don't venture into those books, the
Okay.
ones that are turned into movies or something. I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to be disappointed. There's a lot of disappointment in life. Why add another
But
one?
disappointed in what way? Disappointed by the movie or the book?
I think the
Because
movies,
yeah, I what I do is I tend to watch the movies and then
yeah.
probably read the books if they're based on the books. I try and read the books and see how
Acha,
different they are. Uh,
okay,
and then yeah, but you're right in the sense that, but I've already seen the movie, so I'm kind of
okay.
disappointed in hindsight. Like like I watch the movie, I read the book, and then the
Yeah,
book is better than the movie, so I'm like, oh shit, the movie is actually quite bad.
okay.
So
It's shit.
in
So
that way.
sometimes yeah, what I do is like I either just watch the movie or I only read the book. I
Okay.
can't have the best
Yeah.
of both
Uh,
worlds.
yeah. If I've read a book and then it turns out that they're turning it into a movie, I will
Yeah,
make sure it'll have to be a good cast and a good director for me to watch it.
yeah. So, uh, one of those. I know this is like an embarrassing thing to say, but I'm like a huge Twilight fan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my
Hmm.
guilty pleasure. Yeah, like
I can
no, because
understand that.
I, yeah, it came out during that time in my life, and I was like young and dumb and stupid. Please don't judge me. I was like, yeah, I went to go watch the movies and all that thing, and I'm like, okay. But I promised myself I would not read the books though, because I'm like,
Well,
no, I
at least
just don't
it's
like.
what I would say to people who say that is, well, thank God you're not a 50 Shades of Grey fan.
I might have read it, but I
Oh,
didn't enjoy it.
damn. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
I for a second I was like, I liked it. Okay, but fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, like,
Okay.
yeah, there was like too much happening, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about 50 Shades.
Let's not talk about that. Yeah.
Let's keep this
Okay. So
PG.
fair enough. Though the podcast has never been that, but fair enough. Let's start now. Let's start now.
Yeah.
Apart from books, what else how do you, after work or after a hard day of work, how do you relax? What's your social life like in
Mm,
Shillong, and how do you spend the rest of the evening? If there's no
usually, I would
football,
like,
by the way.
yeah, I would, for me, when I say relaxing, I need wine. I love wine
Okay.
and music.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
fair.
like, just like how like I'm like a moody reader. I'm a
Mhm.
moody music listener too. So I'm
Fair
the
enough.
type of people who listen to all genres.
Yeah, I am more of that than I'm a moody reader. I think I'll stick to a few genres. I wouldn't move too much in from a book, from a reading perspective.
Yeah,
From a music perspective, I am in complete agreement, or I am in sync with anybody who is a moody musician. It would depend on the mood on that day. It could even be
yeah,
like within 5 minutes. I'll be like, oh, I'm not feeling it at this one, so
yeah,
pop on to the next. Okay, nice,
exactly.
nice.
But then deep down, I'm like a punk rocker.
Okay,
I'm like obsessed with punk. I mean, I was obsessed
okay,
with it when I was like, I started listening to punk when I was like 13, 14, and it
the
toned
right age.
down. Yeah, exactly. So it toned down over the years, but then
Okay.
now and then I would still go and like listen to this music and be like, shit, this is still so good.
Yeah.
So like
Uh,
I'm like obsessed with it. And then, when it comes to music, family is very big on music. So
mhm.
especially rock music. And ask me what's my favorite band.
Okay, yeah, sure. I was going to. What's your favorite band?
ABBA.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a
They're like my
it's a very
favorite
good
group.
choice. It's a very
I'm
good choice,
like,
but yeah.
I know exactly. Like I'm like obsessed with their music. Like you give me any of their songs, I'm like, yeah, I know it like from the beginning to end.
So, Mamma Mia 1 and 2 would have been like heaven for you.
Like, yeah, don't ask how many times I've watched it because even I don't remember.
Yeah, you're like my sister also is obsessed with like Mamma Mia and ABBA. Too much to the fact that the musical came here to Dubai, so she went to watch it
Oh
in
my gosh, that is like so cool.
the.
I'm like, like it's like ABBA's like I don't understand why, but I just vibe with their music so well. Like
Oh, I'm completely agree. There are days where
a vibe is a vibe.
ABBA is the right. Yeah, no, it's the right vibe. It's the right music to listen to. Uh,
No, it's
yeah,
not like for me. It's like an everyday thing. Like I can listen to them every day, and I don't understand how I can do that. Like I can't do that with any other musician
fair
but to
enough.
them.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I
yeah, I
fro- so Shillong. I mean, but Shillong and all these places, like they're heavy on music. Like the Northeast is crazy
yeah.
on music. You guys have the NH7 festival as well, right? In Shillong.
Yeah, we do have, and actually, this is like festival season. Okay,
Yeah.
so during the
Uh,
month of uh, October through December, it's called festival season here. So, like, I think 2 weeks back, I just attended a Jay Sean concert. He came to Shillong.
oh, really? Of all
Yeah,
places. Okay, not bad.
exactly. Yeah, and we were like, all of us, everybody was there was like super millennial, and everybody was like just reminiscing on those good old days. Like
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
everybody, like when I went there, like I knew everyone who was there because we were all like around the same age, and we were all like singing to down and all of Jishan's song and like really fun.
there
So
are there are
and then
groups and there are groups and musicians which are very like era related, and if you're in that era, their songs
yeah,
hit you with different feels.
exactly. And like even though you don't really enjoy the music, it's just that it's just they're just selling you nostalgia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I'm down for it.
Oh yeah.
So
I'll be
yeah,
down.
so exactly like I said, and then we have Big Mountain. I don't know if you know Big Mountain, the band.
No.
They're coming
Huh.
to, yeah, they're having a concert in like next week or something. So
Okay.
this, and we've already had like the Hills Festival, the Autumn Festival. Unfortunately, Cherry Blossom. So we usually have the Cherry Blossom Festival here as well. Okay, because we have a lot of cherry blossom, and it just went
Yeah.
off all of a sudden. And so we were supposed to have Harvey Blue, and Magic was supposed to come here.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then but the entire festival got cancelled due to like some issue
Uh, uh,
between our state and Assam and all of that. Yeah, unfortunately, so we missed out on like a big festival. But then
okay.
yeah, like here
Are
it's
you
like
like are you a huge concert fan though? Like you would love to like you're a like you would prefer or not prefer, but you would love going to concerts. I've spoken to people who kind of prefer just listening to music on Spotify or whatever rather than going to concerts. And probably that's also because it like going to a concert alone versus going to a concert with people. People don't really
yeah.
want to go to a concert alone. But are you big on concerts? Are you like if there's a popular singer? I mean, not saying every concert, but if there is a singer or an artist that you follow and they're in town, are you on your laptop minute one to book tickets?
Nope. I mean, like for me, it's like nowadays I'm usually going with the flow. Like for example, the Jay Sean concert, I just bought it 2 days before the concert.
Oh
Like
wow,
I
yeah.
mean, I love Jay Sean. I mean, I was like, yeah, I'll go. I'll decide. For me, it really depends on the kind of people who I'm going with.
Hmm, right.
Because it wasn't decided like who else was going for the concerts. That's why I was like delaying it.
Okay. Yeah.
So it
Fair
all
enough.
depends on the group. It depends if I
Would
have like
you
a good group of people who's going with, then
would you go
definitely I
to
would
concerts
definitely.
alone?
Unless they're like, unless I really really like the band, maybe.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but then here's the thing. I'm that person who loves going to watch the movie alone.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
love
Fair enough.
going like I'd rather go out for coffee and like drink coffee alone than sit with somebody.
Yeah. I love. I don't mind eating at a restaurant alone. I've done that multiple times.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I don't. I've done movie alone multiple times. I've done concerts alone multiple times as well. So I don't know what that says about me, but I've gone. I guess it's also because the crowd that when I was in the UK for a year, and the crowd that I was
Yeah.
with wasn't like into the sort of music that I was in,
Mm,
or tickets were or they didn't want to spend on that concert and all that. But yeah, so I just went alone. It
yeah.
was yeah, a couple. I think it was Mr. Big. I went alone. Queen. I went
Mr. Big
alone.
came to Shillong also. He
Yeah.
did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So Mr. Big. I went alone. I went to Queen alone. I don't
How
remember.
how do you find people to go with you for Queen? It's Queen.
Yeah, but I think they'd spend money on something else, so they didn't want to spend. They'd spend money on. I think Bruno Mars was playing, so they spent money on Bruno Mars, and they didn't have enough to spend on Queen.
Achha, okay.
Yeah,
Their lives,
yeah,
their choices.
uh, exactly. Yeah, but I've been to a couple of them alone.
Mm,
It's fine. I mean, you're with people. It's not like you're alone in the crowd, so I don't mind it.
yeah.
But I've been to concerts with people as well. So what's your? I mean, of the concerts that you've been to, which is your favorite one?
For me, there was a One Plus festival. Huge.
Okay.
I'm a huge Dua Lipa fan, by the way.
Oh, don't tell me she
So
came
she
there.
came.
Did
Yeah,
she?
yeah, she came to Bombay actually.
Yeah.
So I was still
Okay.
in Bombay. Yeah, so I was still in
Okay.
Bombay, and then she came. Then there was Katy Perry also there, and I
Oh
had
wow,
like a blast. The night, like
that would have been nice.
I was like dancing to a point where like after the concert I was like shit, like I need somebody to carry me. Like do I like fake an injury? Do I faint? Like I need an ambulance to take me home. I just
Yeah.
couldn't anymore.
or in current, like what Infantino said, today I feel disabled. Just like, tonight I feel
Yeah,
disabled.
exactly.
Uh, yeah. Okay. I mean, that would have been an insane concert to go to. To be fair.
Yeah, it was like really, really fun. And I went there with like one of my uncles. He's like we're like
Okay.
really tight, and so we both like the same music ish. So we just went there and we were like having like the time of our lives. So it was
Nice.
special that way also.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. It's cool. I think. Yeah. For me, top. I think the top two or the ones that are joined first are Queen, which is insane,
Yeah,
and
understandable.
Coldplay, New Year's Eve concert.
Okay, that sounds nice. I don't know. I'm not a big Coldplay fan
So
though.
in the sense, okay, so from a Coldplay, from song wise, I'm okay with it, but their concerts are next
Yeah,
level.
it's
Like
the vibe. The
the
vibe is
vibe,
like, yeah,
the
I
vibe.
see all the videos. I'm like, okay, I want to be there, even though I'm not like a Coldplay fan.
Same, same. Like I mean, there are a few songs. The older songs are the best, but
Yeah.
I was there for pure vibes. Like I was there for New Year's Eve. They brought in the New Year's as well. So I was like, I'm
Okay.
not missing out on that. So yeah, those two were
Mm,
definitely memorable ones. So uh,
that sounds nice.
you mentioned Mumbai. So and of course before we recorded, you mentioned that you were in Calcutta as well. So Shillong, Calcutta, Mumbai. What's been the major differences in the lifestyle or the way of living in both of those places, especially like Shillong to Mumbai or Calcutta to Mumbai would have
For
been.
me, like Bombay is like, yeah. For me, Mumbai was like too many people. That was like my only issue. Like everywhere, like crowds and crowds of people. Like like even if like I would like return home, like I would take the local train at like 1:15 in the morning, and like it's still packed. Like how are there like so many people in Bombay? that was like
Yeah.
that was like the only thing that I didn't like about Bombay. Otherwise, it was like pretty cool. But then I love Calcutta. I fell in love with Calcutta.
Okay. I
Uh,
think that's the more, but like Calcutta is also a little more easy, like in the sense that the way of life is a lot more chill. Chill.
yeah,
Yeah.
chill, very chill. Like the fun. Let me tell you a story about how chill people in Calcutta were. So there was
Definitely.
this one time we had like we had some football tournament and all this, so we had to go to some office to get permission to use the ground. So we went to this office. It was around 2:30. We knocked on the door, nobody was opening, and then we called the guard. The guard came and he opened. And we walked into the room. There were like people sleeping on the floor, taking an afternoon nap. Like, can you imagine? Like,
Oh,
people are like sleeping in their office on
yeah,
the
Bombay
floor.
would you would have been fired by then.
And like we had to like tiptoe around because obviously we didn't want to wake them up.
Yeah,
And we had to
of course.
like, oh gosh, that was like one of the most memorable experiences I've had in Calcutta.
Jesus, man, that is
Just
insane. That
yeah,
is
like
crazy.
I was like we were all like shocked. We thought okay, like maybe nobody came to the office or something. That's why the guard came to like
Yeah.
open up. Yeah, but then people were just
So,
sleeping.
so when you started that story, I was thinking ahead. So I was thinking, oh, maybe they're saying it's lunchtime, even though it's at 2:30. But I would never have guessed that they were sleeping on in the office. Like,
Even we were like, see, you're like shocked. Like you can imagine our shock when we saw people like sleeping on the floor. Like, dude, like it's an office. It's a hello. Like you're supposed to be like working or something. But then that was
like,
like
come in,
the
join us.
chill.
Come, we're taking an afternoon nap. Come, join us. Sleep on the floor.
They were
It's
like
such a
so
good.
chill. Like
Yeah.
dude, like that was like something like really really funny. And I think all of us were like, yeah, we came out and we were like after like that talked to somebody else there in the office. When we came out, we were like, yeah, I think we need to process what we just saw. Like people sleeping on the floor in the afternoon as though it was like Yeah, the
So did you
house.
go to So were you in Calcutta before Bombay or after?
Yeah, I was in Calcutta before Bombay. I was
Ah,
I did my undergraduation there in Calcutta.
okay. Oh, nice.
Yeah, I studied there for like 3 years, and then after that, I stayed there for another 2 years. I worked there, so like I really fell in love with the city. It was like super chill. I loved the vibe that it was giving. The architecture was nice, and most importantly, there was football.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my football man nation.
Yeah,
So
it was, and football
what
was
made
like,
you move to Bombay though?
yeah, I was actually doing my masters, so that was
Ah,
like
okay,
the only reason why I moved to Bombay.
okay.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if I would ever return to Bombay. I
Mm-hmm.
would rather choose another city
Fair
than
enough.
Bombay. I mean, it's nice. I mean, I just went there like last October. I just traveled
Mhm.
to Bombay in October and I was there for like a week. And I'm like, I miss Bombay, but I don't think I would ever want to like stay
There's a
there again.
difference. Yeah, there's a difference between visiting and staying there. I think staying there for
Yeah,
a while it's a very it's one of those cities where you either like it or you completely hate it, and
yep,
it's just for some people. I don't think everyone. I don't think I would also be able to live the Bombay life in a way. Uh,
yeah,
yeah, as
exactly.
as much as I
And
like
also,
the vibe and the food scene is insane, all of that, but I just can't think of staying there forever.
like, there's not enough football for me in
Fair
Bombay.
enough. Yeah, yeah.
You know, like in Calcutta, like there's always something or the other happening.
Hmm.
Like there was like so much football there, so that is why I was like, okay, I really love it. Like Bombay, there's like sure there's ISL and there's I League and like, but then but what I love is like the local tournaments, the local leagues, and all of
Hmm.
that. So I just yeah, and the difference, and I've noticed okay, the difference between football in Bombay and football in anywhere else. Football in Bombay, there's like a lot of production, yeah. Even if those it's like a small
Commercialization.
tournament, yeah, it just I don't know.
Yeah,
Everybody's so fixated on anything else but the game.
yeah.
So I think
Okay,
that was
fair enough.
like, and yeah, so that is
Yeah,
like,
you chose the right city in Cal for football because that state and that city is just mental. Like it is football crazy. So yeah, definitely I can see why you picked up on a great vibe there. I can also I when you spoke about Bombay being commercialized in terms of even sports, it's all you can see it. It's not anything
yeah,
hidden. Uh, but yeah, some like I said, some people like it, some people don't. I'm not going to diss Bombay. I
yeah,
think
definitely.
I've had people on the podcast who are from there, so I don't want to I don't want to alienate them. But you also
Yeah, I'm
managed to
just
even
sorry to everyone else.
yeah, you also managed to have the Chelsea football the supporters club there that you were part of. I think right, the Bayside
Yeah, I
for a
was
bit.
I was not really yeah I was not really involved in all those,
Hmm.
but yeah, maybe I had gone for like a few screening. I'm like more involved with the Chelsea supporters group here in Shillong.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds quite active. So nice, nice to see that grow. Nice to see the sport grow there as well. Uh, all right. So apart from that, I guess yeah, I guess that's all we have we have for this particular episode. Thank you for coming on here, and it was really nice talking with you and getting to know a lot more about you. Hopefully, we can do
Yeah,
this. I mean, I don't think we're going to be doing this type of episode, but hopefully, we can have you on for the football podcast where you can talk a lot more about football, the
yeah.
sport of your choice. And yeah, we'll definitely get to talk about men's women's football, and yeah, can't wait to host you on our regular channel as well.
Yep. Thank you for having me again. And I'm like, you're like the only podcast that I keep on coming to. Like this is like I don't know how many times. And
Yeah.
I've done like other podcasts. Like I've done it. I'm like, okay, I'll do it like once, twice, and that's
Hmm.
it for me. But and like I think that's like kudos to you being a great host.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we can do more in the future. Let's see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, it's been up and down over the past couple of years. It's been up and down. Had to stop for a while, all of that. But let's see. It was always fun chatting with you and other fans as well about football. We watch it, might as well talk about it. And
Yeah.
yeah, can't wait to host you again. So thank you once again. And to
Thank
those
you
of
for
you who
having
are
me.
watching this, yeah, no worries. And to those of you who are watching this particular episode, if you like the format, please do hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow us on social media. If you found stuff that you resonated with, either with me or Philarima, then do let us know in the comments down below. We would love to hear from you, and we'd love to host you as well. So if you are interested in being a part of the podcast, do let us know. We would obviously have you on for the football podcast first, and then eventually that leads you towards this. So we'll definitely love to have you on for that. And I'll catch you all on the next episode, which would be episode 9. But that's about it for episode number 8 of the Dressing Room series, season 1. I'm your host, Brady, once again. You stay safe and see you.